How are you?
I'm good.
I'm surprised you're here. Not because of the voice, but because you don't really have tickets to sell.
I know. My manager always says, go there and brag about being sold out. So, but 4 p.m. I mean, we still have some, but it's early, so I got to get the word out.
When is the last time you played a 4 p.m. Saturday show?
Oh my! This might be the first time. I think 5 p.m. is the earliest I've done before. So, sometimes comedians, when it's that early, they'll adjust their act to, fit the mood. But I know that the people who come to the 4 p.m., they're the most screwed up of all. They're the ones that they're like, I need to laugh right now.
You know the part that's funny though is you look at if you go to the DC Improv site and you'll see it like Tonight Show is sold out and it's like a 7:00 show, but doors are at like 6 or whatever time it is. If you go to the 4:00 show, doors 2:45. It's just the weirdest thing to see. It's nuts.
I think it's perfect for brunch, though, because sometimes you get drunk at brunch and you go, well, what do I do with this drunkenness?
Right. Oh, for day drinking?
I got your answer.
It's awesome.
It's
awesome. It's just weird walking in with the sun out. I think okay. Coming out with the sun out, it's like, oh, no, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. But that's awesome, dude. That's great for you.
That's great. No, I like how you set it up. You're like, if you go, it's awful when you leave. Oh, my God. The sun.
No, but I was thinking, if you go back to, I went and looked, the last time we talked to you on the phone.
Yeah.
I think it was about a year ago, just over a year ago. And you were coming to the Comedy Loft. And it went very well. Like you did very well there. But that's a hell of a jump in a year. And then you got 7 of them sold out. That's awesome.
Well, this is the first city I ever headlined because I grew up in Potomac, Maryland.
Right.
So I really got the advantage from the beginning. I had middle school teachers come out and high school teachers and old classmates. And that's tapered off a little bit because they've gotten lives now. Or the teachers, they've died.
But is it good that they don't come? Like, it's not just friends and family that are packing shows.
Yeah. No, it's good. You can't rely on that forever. Believe you me. You get one show with the friends and family, and I played it. So I went back and I looked, and when we talked last time, you were doing the Comedy Loft, which, just looking back over the last year, I remember you telling me right after that you were going overseas for the first time. Yes, I did. I've done a lot of overseas now. I did Australia and New Zealand this year.
Did you really?
I did Europe last year, the year before. I've been twice, going back next year. So it's international now.
Is it? Well, I'm assuming it went well if you're going back.
Yeah, the exchange rate can be rough. I thought I made thousands in Australia. It turns out I lost $2. But it's always interesting. I think it makes you a better comedian.
But why will there be some comedians, and you'll answer for all of them? Why will there be some comedians that'll go like, I don't want to say it's an American thing, and I don't know if stand-up is as big in Australia, if you're an Australian comic or whatever, but it doesn't seem to jump the water too much.
I think, listen, you cannot complain as an American comedian because they know a lot about us. They know all our politics, and almost everywhere you go in the world, they know our situation.
Sure.
If Australia were to come here and talk about and I want to say prime minister, but if I'm being honest, I don't even know if that's a position. Dictator, emperor, I don't know. But like, we are very lucky, it's lucky. We have forced our media outside the world. We can go there and talk about most things.
Right.
But if they come here, they're screwed. They gotta come up with something new.
Well, there was somebody that you had on your podcast, which is awesome.
Thank you.
But there's somebody that you had on your podcast, and forgive me for not remembering their name, but their boyfriend this is from Australia.
Yes. That was Julian Sewell.
Right.
He's from New Zealand.
New Zealand, that's right.
And careful, they do not like it when you mix it up. But no, his boyfriend, or maybe his husband, basically there's one news station in New Zealand. They used to have 2, and now it's just 1. And he is their America correspondent, the only one. So he is in New York, and he has to report on everything in America.
He covers the entire U.S. from Jersey.
Yeah. I think, it would be nice, I think, to have just one news station. I guess maybe that's not nice. I guess that's more like North Korea. I was like, we'd be less polarized. It's like, yes, we'd all be one thing though. So I don't know.
All right, so you do that. That's going back. I want to go forward in your schedule for a second.
Yeah.
So you finish up here, and that's fine. We get to the holidays. That's good. Something stood out about your New Year's Eve show.
Oh, yes.
That you're doing. Your very big New Year's Eve show.
Uh-huh.
And in there's a very nice, there's nice art that goes along with it. Now, the poster's awesome. The poster's great.
Thank you. Not everyone was a fan of it.
Really?
Yeah, it's a little vulgar.
Your little spindly body with your big butthole right there.
Yeah. I want you to describe it. I was like, how do we even describe? Yeah, I like to play with, showing different poses, my sexual, and then so we had an animation. Online, everyone says show hole, and that's not my.
They say that.
They say that all the time. I don't even been on the internet recently. That's all it is, basically. And yeah, so I'm leaving New York for 3 months, and I said,
so thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. On the bottom right hand corner, there's that little asterisk that says, "Come help us say goodbye to Gianmarco. He's going to L.A. for 3 months." What gives?
I gotta see what's out there. Showbiz is out. It's in L.A.
Okay, what gives?
You got a pilot.
No, my God, I don't even wish anymore. That's dead. TV is dead. I'm just there because there's a lot of bigger people there who can I'd like them to see me because the bar for LA comedy is very low, and I would just like to dance above it for a second. I mean the comedy clubs. There's more space.
Right.
There was an LA comedian, and he came to a New York comedy club, and he asked me. He said, "Where's the green room?" And oh my God, I think it's the first time an LA comedian has ever made me laugh. So it would be nice just to be able to go to a comedy club and sit on a couch before my spot. And but I'm too depressed to live in Los Angeles. Being depressed in New York makes sense because it's filthy. There's rats everywhere.
Right.
But when I'm depressed watching a sunset on a beach in Los Angeles, I'm like, oh my God, the rats are in me.
Because wait a minute. So you don't enjoy comics from LA?
Some of them are, if they didn't start there. No, I just think, listen, I think when you're in LA, there's so many more things to do. You don't have time to dive into comedy. I think what's beautiful to me about stand-up comedy is it's really hard to get good at it when you're at an upper echelon. It's really hard to get good at it when you're not grinding at the very beginning.
Right.
You don't always have to be a crazy person doing 10 spots a night. But if you start and you're famous on social media and all your shows are for your fans, you never get an accurate assessment of what is funny in the moment because they're blowing smoke up your ass.
Right.
And I think that's what makes stand-up a kind of a very pure art form, in that to be good at it, you really have to figure out how to be funny on your own without anything else working in your favor. And if you don't get that, I don't think you're ever that good.
So were you a huge grinder when you started?
Yeah, people have been looking for me on Grindr for a long time. No, I was. I think I got very lucky where I worked a comedy club in New York that's closed now, thank God, called LOL. And it was the worst comedy club you can. It's the kind
Where
of
was
club in Times Square.
Right.
So that's how you know. The best theater is there and the worst comedy is. That's the combo. And, these are the clubs that there's people in the streets being like, come to this comedy club. And they show old comedians that came there once in the 80s.
Right.
And they'll be like, come to the comedy club. Who knows? Joan Rivers might be there tonight. And no one knows that she's dead. So they buy tickets and then they go, oh my God, what is this nightmare? And, what I got to do there was the check spot. That's where you perform right as they drop the checks on the audience, which is especially bad here because they go, oh my God, the water was $35. I had no idea. And I did.
But nobody's paying attention to you.
Nobody's
Because I'm getting
paying
my
attention.
credit card out. I'm asking my buddy for his credit card.
Exactly.
I'm complaining.
Yes.
So nobody's paying attention.
No one's paying attention, and it's not
As a matter
necessarily.
of fact, you're probably a distraction to what I want to do.
It's honestly, they're resentful because they look at the number, they look up at you, and they're like, this was not worth it at all. But because of that, I got to do 4 spots there every night. Sometimes
night?
Every night. And you can't, it's hard to do that period in comedy anymore because there's so many stand-up comedians now. And,
which is a good thing, I think, right?
I mean, it is if you can get enough stage time. I think unfortunately I'm always fascinated. Every city has its own comedy ecosystem. And, maybe there's a lot of stage time, but the talent's not that high. And if the talent's not high, you're not competitive. You're not trying to get out there. New York, a lot of talent. Really hard to get stage time in the beginning. And if you don't have stage time, how are you going to get better? So it's always, every city has its own ecosystem and different degrees of healthiness or not.
But aren't you guys smart enough? Because, listen, no, I'm being serious. I love comics. Good comics, you could tell, are very smart, right? Aren't you guys?
Some, in certain ways, very specific ways we can be intelligent.
Aren't you guys smart enough to go, okay, if there's too many in New York and there's too many in L.A., I don't know. Find a third city.
You're not wrong.
Go to Chicago.
You're not wrong.
Come to D.C.
But there's no casting directors in D.C. There's no.
You just said you don't want to do a pilot.
Sure. I agree. Listen. If you're asking me from the beginning,
right? I
was in New York only because I was a failed actor moving into stand-up comedy.
Right.
If someone said to me, "Oh, I'm going to start stand-up. Should I go straight to New York?" I would say no. I agree with you. I'd say go to D.C. I'd say go to Chicago.
Right.
I'd say go to San Diego, San Francisco, go to Toronto. But for the beginning,
right?
I think then later you just have to be there because that's where you meet the other comedians that you want to work with. They go to New York, they go to LA, and I do think it's become more fractured with social media. Now you can have a healthy touring life and live in Atlanta or live in Austin,
right?
So I agree with you.
You're working at LOL, you're doing your grind, you're doing all of that.
Yes.
And then eventually, like at some point you're like, all right, now I'm good. Look at me go.
What happened was COVID.
Right.
COVID. And I just got online. Thank God I got online soon enough. I got on TikTok, not at the beginning, but I had written so many jokes and I just, to the camera, saying my jokes, captioning it on the phone. And I just released one a day. And then I just rode the social media train. Not every comedian does it. But these days it's really hard to exist in this space without having a big social media. And then now I have a team. I have multiple people who I have hired to post on all the various apps. Right. And it just gets worse and worse. Now you got Twitter, and Blue Sky and Threads. So suddenly this is 3 new apps prop up, and I'm sure there's going to be 8 more by the end of the year.
Oh, of course.
And luckily I'm in a position now to, I try to focus on the content and I hire people to format it correctly for all these different apps.
Right.
But it really is a nightmare. And I do think it's not necessarily good for art. It's not healthy for art. You have to be the producer. You have to be your own TV network.
Right.
I mean, there was a time where I would just do radio and I wouldn't have to have a podcast. Now I have a podcast and I film it and I edit it and it gets captioned. And that's how I made it.
Sure.
That's
that
why
makes total
I'm
sense.
here.
But now, okay, so you're going to go to LA for 3 months.
Yes.
Are you definitely coming back after 3 months?
I think so, but I wouldn't be the first to say that.
Right.
And go,
so you're going to be that
Judd
guy.
Apatow
Well,
wants
you know
to
what?
make
It's
a
not.
movie.
Oh, here we go.
But I can't drive, so that is a huge.
I was going to ask you that. So
Yeah.
is your mom still in LA?
She is in LA, yeah.
Right. So mom lives in LA. What were you doing? There was something, you went to LA. Well, first you were like, I don't like LA. I could talk crap about LA. I hate LA. And now we're moving there. Number one.
No, I'm visiting. I swear.
But you were saying that there was something maybe you were going to the Comedy Store. I don't know which place you were going to.
Yeah.
But you were trying to work a joke and your mom was driving you to the comedy club and she hated the joke, and that's where you were like, oh, now I know I have to do it. If my mom hates it, I got to do it. But your mom literally has to drive you to the comedy club.
Yeah, it is embarrassing. Thanks for telling everyone. Yeah, I run jokes by my mom sometimes, and it's always a mistake. She always goes, not your best. And I go, I can only have one best, so that can't be the bar for all my comedy. and yeah, a lot of my jokes are about her, especially her dating life. She's on eHarmony.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah.
Wait, so can I ask a family question?
I'm nervous what you're going to say. Like, what's her favorite position? I'm not sure. But,
well, I wasn't. But as long as you're going to offer that up, please. Show hole.
I honestly think the reason I like that kind of stuff, I think when your parents are divorced and dating, you learn more about your parents than other people do, and that's why you're not even more comfortable with it. It's just more a fact of life.
But didn't you have a stepdad for a while?
I had a stepdad for a very long time.
Clearly, they split.
They did split. He actually came to the show last night. You know,
wait. So your stepdad is here?
Yeah, he's in DC.
But was he ever with your mom in LA?
No, she moved. I think kind of to get some space. No, now it's always weird because he's my. There's not a good term, ex-stepdad, the dad that got away. Right. I don't know what you even call it.
I was going to say, do you refer to him just as your stepdad? I mean, because there's zero relationship.
No, I have half siblings. I have 4 younger half siblings, so 2 total, and they are his kids. So there is that.
Wait, I'm totally lost now. I'm not good on halves and all that other stuff.
I mean, me neither.
So wait, your mom and this guy had kids?
Yes, they had kids,
and he had kids previously.
No.
So,
but I have siblings that are his kids. So no matter what, we will have family reunions at the funeral.
Is this is this the same guy though that got you that when you were young you had a cell phone if your real dad called, he would get pissed at you for answering the phone. He got you the phone. So
yeah. I mean, it's always complicated where basically my dad,
your real dad.
My real dad.
Right.
Yeah. He would always call like in the middle of like dinner, and I think it was just to troll them. But I was like, at the time, people always ask, they're like, when your parents get divorced, which one did you like more? And it's hard to choose because when your parents split up, there's always the responsible parent, and then there's the dad. And my father
can I use a story just to show the level of trolling that your dad does?
Sure.
And you told us this last time.
Yeah.
That during custody exchange, when your dad would drop you off at your mom's house, if 3 miles away from his house, he would go in and he would take a dump in your mom's house, so she'd have to sit in it.
It was. He would always say, "Can I use the bathroom?" And you can't say no. But like, it really felt like a very like territorial. We're back in the jungle, and he's like, "This is mine. My alimony payments paid for that toilet, and I will be using it."
I love that. So he would call during dinner.
He'd call and he would always be a nuisance. He would always be when I was a kid, I just said, "It's my dad. I love my dad." And looking back, you're like, you clearly were instigating something. So there's one time basically where it was my birthday, and I hadn't heard from my dad all day, and he called again like during dinner. And my stepdad, who had gotten me the new Razor phone, this is how long ago it was, he said, give me that phone. I didn't get you that phone to talk to that man. And it was clearly been building up to this. And I was alone with him in a car. And then I turned to my stepdad, who I've never spoken back to in my life at this point. And I snapped. I was like 15, my 15th birthday. I said, I didn't say this exactly. I'm cleaning up for radio. I said, "You're just mad because my dad slept with your wife before you did." And honestly, I feel like the same impetus for that is kind of why I became a comedian. I think it's because like there was tension, there was things I couldn't say, and in that moment I just said what I think was part of the truth, the deep core underneath. And I think that was the kind of my birth of being a comedian.
So he's still here.
Stepdad
is still here.
Yeah.
Stepdad and real dad close at all?
Not at all.
Did they both come to shows last night?
Is
it like one is 7, one's 9:30? Like we don't cross.
I hope so. I always pray. My dad, he might come. He usually just like is gonna come and then he cancels right before. And I don't even take it personally at this point. I just don't. Every time he sees me, he wants to tell me comedy ideas he has for me to do. He always goes, he's like, you got to write this idea. It's called My Wife's Boob Job. And I'm like, because he's bought, I found out as I get older, he bought his last girlfriend fake, he's bought his last 5 girlfriends fake boobs.
5?
Yeah, that's 10 boobs total.
Wait a minute, he's had 5 ex-girlfriends, not wives, ex-girlfriends that he bought boobs for?
Boobs for, yeah.
What does your dad do for a living?
I mean, not enough to afford that.
I was going to say, he's making money.
Is
he a good-looking dude?
He's a good-looking dude. My dad, he's better looking than me. And I know when people meet my dad, they always go, your dad's really good-looking. Like I owe them an explanation. I remember there once my dad picked me up from middle school, and a rumor started that I must be adopted. And it hurt so much because my dad started it. So he's a good-looking guy. Every time I post a picture of him online, people go, so I posted this picture like every year of my dad with just some very attractive blonde woman, and me. I'm in the shot as a little kid, and I have no idea who she is. And then my mom told me, she said, can you please stop posting that? That's the woman he cheated on me with.
Oh, God.
And I was like, oh, my God. So that's the life he lived.
So mom moves to LA for whatever reason, but she's dating. She's on eHarmony.
She's dating. She went on a date with a guy. Recently, I asked her, I was like, how'd the date go? And she said, let's just say we're physically compatible. And I was like, let's just say fine next time. How about that? You know? She only dates men that are older than her, so she's, running out of options. She complained to me that her last boyfriend couldn't get it up. And when I met him, I realized she meant his whole body.
Now, is Tova going with you to
yes.
LA?
Yes, my girlfriend. Well, she's a manager. She's a comedy manager. So
right.
So she's going because she's killing it. She just got Hollywood Reporter's 35 Under 35 coming up in the industry. It's a big deal.
Did she really?
Yes, she's an incredibly talented.
Oh, that's awesome.
Comedy manager. So she's going there and she's gonna meet a lot of people and make some big moves.
That's fantastic. No, that's great.
She's phenomenal.
Now there is a going back to your schedule for a second. So there's the New Year's Eve show,
yeah.
And then you're still touring, even though you're going to be in LA. However, there is a good little 6-week gap in your schedule. What are you filming?
I'm so flattered you think I'm filming. I got nothing on the books. I'm available. I'm opening it up in case anyone wants to film something.
Did you film something for Happy Gilmore?
No. I wish.
Did you audition for Happy Gilmore?
I did audition for it.
Oh, sorry.
Let's go over all the auditions. I did a little I've only done little TV things here and there. I was in Wolf of Wall Street. I played Leonardo DiCaprio's waiter. So to prepare, I actually became a waiter for 12 years.
So you're not going to give me anything on what you're doing. What was the
This is like if you had no plans on a Saturday night and someone was like, come on, what party are you going to? And you're like, I swear I'm lonely. I swear to God, I'm depressed. I'm sad. I'm dying. Please, someone invite me.
Do you want to act though? That is your background. That's kind of where this all started, right?
I was an actor. I did theater in New York.
Right.
I've shared the stage with some people who've gone on to become huge real estate agents. But I'll do it. I'll do it. And don't get me wrong, like I'm down to like try it. But I've done enough recently where I just go, you know what? I love stand-up comedy. Being a great comedian is a full life.
Right.
And I think the reason, if people who love comedy ever wonder why it seems like every comedian gradually gets worse as they get older, it's because they're busy, because they're acting.
Right.
And when you get up for your 4 a.m. Call time, you don't have time to go out at night. You start getting inundated. You live a weird life. You're not relatable to any human being. And I do think sometimes that I want to just be more of a stand-up comedian.
That makes me so happy. No, because because you're very good. You're very good. And I would hate to see it just because you have to go be some waiter for Leonardo DiCaprio, then all of a sudden your craft stops improving.
If they do a Big Bang Theory where the lead is Italian and Jewish, I will leave this life behind and you will never see me again, and I'll be doing the worst comedy for $1 million an episode. But I don't know. I look at there's a really good profile yesterday on Anthony Jeselnik, who's one of my favorite comedians, and I feel like he has just focused on stand-up comedy, and that's why his I saw his set that's going to be filmed, or it's going to be on Netflix, and you're like, oh, this is
great. I like Jeselnik a lot.
I think we have gotten used to a very low level of comedy. I think the industry and the algorithm, which I feed just as much as anyone else, but I think between all these streaming platforms trying to compete and releasing too many specials and too many clips, we have grown accustomed to something that is lower than what it can be.
Right.
And I think when I think about what kind of life I want to have as an artist, I'd rather create great work than kind of schlock.
Right.
And just make it on that.
That's fantastic.
But again, Big Bang Theory 3, I'm there.
Right there.
I'm gone. I will produce all the schlock you need.
All right, let me do this. Let me take a quick break. Gianmarco Soresi is with us. The Improv all weekend, the 4 o'clock show tomorrow. There were still some tickets available. DCimprov.com for tickets. Quick break. It's Elliot in the Morning. Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Which number, since you've been here, cup of coffee is that?
I had one in the hotel. This is my third of the day. Well, you nervous? You stressed?
Aren't you not supposed to be doing that?
Why?
Adderall.
Oh, Adderall, yes.
Oh, aren't you not supposed to have coffee on Adderall?
Well, I haven't taken it yet.
Ever?
No, not yet. Today.
Today.
No, my God. I was diagnosed with ADHD by my girlfriend, and I always suspected as much. I always suspected, but I was nervous. You ever feel like you delay taking medication you should have started a long time ago because you're like, I'm going to be mad when it works.
Right.
I'm going to be like, oh, if I had this in high school, where would I be now?
Exactly.
I'd call my parents and be like, hey, remember how school was a nightmare? Did you ever think about looking into it? And so then I go to my doctor, and he gives me the Adderall, but he said, just so you know, one of the side effects, it might delay your ability to have an orgasm. And I was like, if I had this in high school, oh my God, I could have finished my homework and my girlfriend. This is nuts. I was like, I called up my ex. I was like, hey, remember how I always finished after 3 seconds? You ever think about looking into it?
What did you have to do in order? Not what did you have to do to get on Adderall, but what is the test?
Oh my God!
Because I feel like I should be on it, and I'm not.
You can get it. You can get it. There's no quest. There's no test. They say, do you have trouble focusing? You go, yeah. And they go, here, pay me $400. I'll prescribe. It's a drug exchange. It's so insane.
Wait, so there's no battery of exams you have to do?
Oh my God. No, because the whole point is that you can't finish the exam because you have ADD. I was filling out the intake form. They said, hey, we noticed halfway through your address you tried learning French on your phone. Here you go. Take it. I mean,
do you like it?
Oh my! Well, you take it and you're like, it is what I thought cocaine would be. Like you just feel like alive, and you're like, I could do anything, and there's not.
So you feel better.
Oh my God! I mean, truly, it felt like I haven't done that many drugs, but it felt like the most like, oh, I could see how my life could spiral, wanting to continue this feeling. It is a drug. So
it makes you feel better.
It makes you feel like you feel like you could be on the verge of tears because you're so I'm awful. Like if anyone's listening and you're an addict, please. It's the best feeling in the world. But it's like I always feel like I could cry, but like in a good way, and I feel charged and I'm excited and I'm like, oh, there's not even enough time for all the things I want to get done. And
but do you miss feeling all over the place? Because I go back to the first thing you said where I should probably be on it, but I'm so used to only being all over the place.
Yeah, it doesn't, honestly, it did not, I didn't like do it and like, I was like, I can get everything done. I just felt energized to be chaotic. I'm sure for some people it focuses them. I don't have that experience. It just feels like I'm high. and disorganized. It feels like I'm disorganized, but you know what?
But happy.
I could get it done. I could get it done.
So it changes how you feel? It doesn't just like smooth everything out. Like you feel high.
I feel high. I feel charged. I feel excited. I feel thrilled. I feel like I could take on the world.
This is awesome.
Let me tell you something. Try it. Try it.
How long do you have to do it before you feel it?
It hits fast.
Do you have one in your pocket?
No, I don't.
Let's do it now.
Sure. I mean,
have
these with the coffee.
The one thing I read was, or I guess it was you talking about it, that you were on Adderall and the doctor was like, "Don't take coffee with it." And I'm sitting here watching you drink coffee. I'm like,
sure,
Jesus Christ!
Sure. But let me also say this doctor, they. I looked at their degree. I was like, why is it in quotes? The whole degree is in quotes. And I asked, I swear this is true. I said, I get high sometimes. I smoke pot. I said, how long after taking Adderall should I wait to smoke pot? And my doctor said, let me Google it. And I was like, oh, when you're done, could you Google how to report a doctor for malpractice? That's insane. I watched her Google it in front of me. And she was like, well, it says here on Reddit that, like, and I'm like, what?
Reddit?
Oh, my God.
What is that answer, by the way?
It says it's fine. I mean, even the coffee thing, the number of people who write me, they say, don't worry about it. I take Adderall, I drink coffee. I think what's so frustrating with doctors is that they tell you the most extreme version so they don't get sued. And so they tell you this kind of very black and white thing.
Sure.
They say don't have any coffee the day you take Adderall. And then everyone goes, no, it's fine. And so you have to decide, the non-medical professional, what to do.
Right.
And I think because we live in such a litigious world, one of the results of it is that the doctor can't even speak to you with any kind of nuance. And so you don't fully believe them.
Right.
And then you just have no one to trust. We're screwed.
When you say you can't, like, don't drink coffee on the day that you don't take Adderall every day?
No, I really take it like, because they also say don't work out on the Adderall. So if I do the workout later, I only take it when I'm like, I have a lot of time to just work.
Right.
Like focus on my laptop. But if it just depends on the day. And I always get nervous about getting, addicted or used to it. So I bounce around. Some days I take a little bit of weed. Some days it's just coffee. I definitely in my 30s, the sleep medication sometimes, if I'm taking Adderall, then I get nervous. I'm taking sleep medication. Now it feels like the whole day is just pills. And I think about Requiem for a Dream. And I go, I start here and then soon 3 days it's ass to ass, as they say in that movie. And I'm like, I don't want to get there.
Wait, what sleep medication are you taking?
Oh,
are you taking Ambien?
God, I do take Ambien sometimes.
Do you really?
Well, because sometimes my sleep, you see look what's the face you
Because
make.
you've all heard about what Ambien does. And
Wait, in a
people,
good way or a bad way?
No,
in a
it's
good
like,
way.
No,
bad way.
How people like.
Well,
like,
who was the guy?
Like
who
they
was,
wake up on the highway.
No, but who was the guy who woke up at the Capitol? Remember, he took Ambien and smashed his car into the barriers at the Capitol.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, let's. That's also what people say. You say to
Or
me,
that was an
you
excuse.
say to me, you take Ambien, you wake up on the highway. That's exactly what happened today. That's why I'm here. I took Ambien last night. I woke up on the highway on the way here.
Win-win.
Exactly.
So you like Ambien?
Oh my God. My girlfriend doesn't like me saying it, but I go, Ambien is how I understand how comedians die on the road. She doesn't like it at all. But I go, because you have to understand, and listen, I'm happy I'm here, but I ended my second show at 12:30 last night. I like to do 90-minute shows. I meet the people after the show. I'm hyped up.
And you're very, what is the right word? Because I don't want this to sound bad. No.
Let's see.
You're very energetic on stage.
I am.
Like you're like that. You're moving around. Like there's a lot going on there.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on.
I like to use the stage.
Yeah, you're an actor.
I'm an actor.
Yeah, so it's not a like I'm just going to stand here by the stool and tell jokes, which would also be fine as long as they're funny. But there's a lot going on there.
You just move, and then to go from that just to go to sleep, that's crazy.
Right.
So
you're done at 12:30. You're back at the hotel at 3. You're all ambient up, and then you're ready to go.
yeah, and I'm on my 3rd cup of coffee today.
Can you drink on Adderall?
Let me Google it. No, I don't think you're supposed to, but maybe. I mean, sometimes I asked those, like, okay, I take NyQuil. I had a mango White Claw 3 hours ago. And then I'm like, people mix cocaine and shrooms. Like usually it's not this.
Right.
I'm sure there's a certain age I'll have to be a little more cautious, but we'll see.
Who was when I heard you talk about this was something interesting I'd never heard of before. Whoever you were talking to about being on Adderall had said that they had gone on antidepressants.
Sure.
And hadn't cried in years.
I know.
Wasn't that was shocking to me?
Well, I think that's why I never took when I was looking into antidepressants more seriously, I was acting. And I was like an actor, and I was so scared I would take it and I would like lose my ability to connect emotionally.
Right.
And truly, and that's, and also when you figure out antidepressants, that same conversation where like they speak to you in metaphors, and the more you talk to your psychologist, you're like, do you even know what you're talking about here? It's so complicated. So I've never listen, for antidepressants, it works for a lot of people. And that person said, I haven't cried in 6 years, but I also haven't wanted to take my own life in 6 years.
Yeah, right.
Like,
no,
okay,
there's a big positive there.
That's the exchange,
but
I guess.
It never dawned on me that, I mean, obviously it's very helpful and it's good and all of that, but it would shut that part, that one little ability. I don't want to say ability, but you wouldn't cry.
Sure. Listen, it's every medication's got its own thing. I mean, I was looking into balding stuff, and there's a pill you can take.
Balding?
The pill. Yeah, there's a little bit here. There's that.
Turn around.
It's not on the back. It's right where the
top?
yarmulke goes, and you understand.
Just
all
wear a
of
yarmulke
it.
all the time.
Once I need it. I'll tell you, there's so many comedians getting hair transplants that it's becoming kind of a thing.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, comedians in their 30s, they all have their hair transplant bit now.
Who?
Matteo Lane talks about it on stage. Dan Soder talks about it on stage.
Who are the ones that aren't talking about it on stage? That's true.
Sure. Let me if I get it, I'm gonna have to watch theirs. Be like, what part did they not cover, so to speak, and do bits there. But I know it's gonna happen. I know it's in my future.
Was the family that way?
Not on my dad's side, but I think they say it's from your mom's, and definitely on the Jewish side of my mom's family, there is some balding.
Do you have the Jewish drinking gene?
What is that? We look like Manischewitz all the
time. No. The Jewish drinking gene, where it's like one drink and you're done. Like Jews can't drink, or at least that's the word.
Well, my mom is putting an end to that stereotype. I'll tell you that. No, I have not in my family. My family has the alcoholic gene.
Which member of your family remind me, your mom and dad divorced when you were 7
days old,
right?
Yeah.
Which member, because I feel horrible. Every time I go to the door with my stupid cast on, you're like, oh, can I help? And you're very kind.
Sure.
Which parent were you living with when you broke your finger?
I think I was going back and forth. So I broke my finger bowling. It was like, all the kids thought it was cool, like as the ball was rolling back, you'd scoop it up right before it like hit the rack of balls. And my timing has always been terrible. I don't know what I was thinking. I was trying to impress some girl, and it smashed against my pinky. They had to call like the ambulance. I went to the hospital, and my mom was like, "What did you learn from this?" And I was like, "I learned how to make a party all about me."
All right, last couple of things, and then I'll let you jump. Can I ask you like a nerdy comedy?
You can ask anything.
Yeah. No, but like an inside baseball thing.
Uh-huh.
So I was reading. You did an interview, and you were talking about just different types of comedy and reactions to it and stuff like that. And one of the things that you said is a soft laugh is worse than bombing?
Yeah.
Because I feel like all you ever hear is, and listen, comedians will tell you all the time, everybody's bombed. It happens to everybody.
Oh, for sure.
And it happens, I don't want to say regularly, but it's not like you bomb your first week and then it's smooth sailing the rest of your life.
I would argue that if you're not bombing sometimes, you're not pushing yourself to create new kind of comedy.
When is the last time you really bombed out hard?
Oh God. I mean, I did, it's a lot of times it's private events because like the circumstances are not right for comedy.
Right.
And they don't even they think they want comedy, but they really don't. That's not the atmosphere. So I got hired to do, it was a corporate event. It was at, Nobu, which I think they have it's like really high-end sushi. And it was like they had rented out Nobu middle of the day. And it was like their grandma's 85th birthday. And it was very clear, the vibes, that everyone there expected this to be the last birthday for grandma. And it was, multi-generational. And the woman who brought me on stage, I think it was her granddaughter, talked about something. I don't think her grandma was a Holocaust survivor, but was born from her shortly after the Holocaust. And it was just about what a miracle that with the Holocaust, and then she started crying. I can't believe that we all were here and you're alive. Give it up for Gianmarco Soresi. And I was like, oh my God, what? Are you insane? And you go up there and you don't know what to do. You don't know. You're like, why did you hire me? What? My jokes aren't right for this moment. You can't crowd work because they don't even know what's going on. And it was like 15 minutes of just, silence.
Was it really?
Oh, maybe you get in the beginning one or two titters but then you're like, no one wants this. They just want to say bye to grandma. And I'm preventing. I mean, it's like I might as well be at the deathbed, and I'm like, let's hope she makes it for the next 15. And also, it's like, what kind of comedian are you? I think a lot of times for those gigs, I go back to my older material because that material I wrote during the check spot. I had to do jokes that were so tight and so kind of generic and would work while someone's writing down their check. And then, in the last couple of years, my jokes are about my tough relationship with my father and is life worth living? And it's like, you can't tell those jokes.
While Bubby's dying.
I'm like, maybe Bubby's the lucky one. We ever think about that? So I think you gotta bomb sometimes. And the thing that you learn is that it's never easier. It's always embarrassing. It always feels bad. But the comedians that stay prolific, I've seen Bill Burr, he will go to comedy clubs and he'll focus on one topic where he will lose the crowd. And you go, it's not easy. It's not just because he's famous or rich and successful and respected doesn't mean that he doesn't go, geez, it doesn't mean he doesn't see people's eyes. I mean, it's even worse. He sees people's eyes who go, oh my God, Bill Burr's here and this is not
sucks.
Fun.
Right.
But that's why Bill Burr particularly, I think, has remained one of those few comedians who's so successful, who still releases material that makes you go, oh wow, that's a really funny.
So get me to so I understand the bombing part. What's the soft laugh part that makes it worse than bombing?
I think it's just like,
Does it feel gratuitous?
No, it's the difference between like a dad joke and like a great joke, or like in casual conversation where people want to make kind of little jokes along the way. And yeah, you can go like if you were walking out that door and I was like, don't let it hit your ass on the way out or whatever, we'd all go, you were trying to make you're trying to be funny.
Right.
And the little laugh is kind of more an acknowledgement of like, you want it to be humorous and we appreciate that. And that's nice. What a nice thought.
Right.
Whereas it's like, as opposed to if I tried to make a really good joke, it could either bomb or it gets a big pop. And that's what you want to go for.
So you'd rather have either extreme than oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And sometimes if you get used to the it's cute joke, you forget what's possible.
Right.
And you got to remember, and this is why when I talk about comedy scenes and ecosystems, you have to remember what's possible. And when you see that Anthony Jeselnik trailer and you see that one joke that's in the trailer, you go, oh, that's what a joke can be.
Right.
And it's a good reminder.
And what is in the same thing that I was reading, you talked about being on stage, and maybe it was a different setting or whatever it is, but second guessing a joke while you're in the middle of your set, does that, I don't want to say go on a lot, but does that go on regularly? Because in my mind, you go up and not that you don't change things around or stuff happens and it gets added or whatever, you try stuff out. But I can't imagine while performing, in the back of your head, you're also going, well, maybe, yes, no. Because once you start, you're in.
My friend, who's the co-host of my podcast, he's not a stand-up comedian, but he's like a sketch comedian and a comedic actor. He always says talks about how anxious he feels watching stand-up comedy. And it's because you're like, what if this person fails up there? It's going to be embarrassing for them. We're going to feel uncomfortable. And it's a good point in that you as the comedian have to make the audience feel assured that they're safe, that they don't need to feel bad for you. And so when you go up there, you have to be confident in what you're doing up there. That doesn't mean you have to go out there all cocky,
right.
But they can't get the sense of like, oh no, should we go help him? Oh no, is he going to be okay?
Right.
And so when you're working on new material or something you're nervous about, you still have to commit to it very fully because the audience can smell deep down if you're not committed or if you are not confident in what you're saying. And in those moments where you're bombing, the worst thing you can do is retreat. And I can feel myself, if I'm not doing great, I start walking backwards a little bit.
Oh, do you really?
As if like, and it's like a fight or flight, as if somehow I'm going to be safer back here. And it's like, you can't do it.
Right.
And so I have some chunks that I'm working on that, sometimes I'll lose the audience or I haven't quite fine tuned it. And it's those moments that I have to be like, no, keep going. Norm Macdonald, one of the things people loved about Norm the most is like, if he believed a joke was good, he stared you down. He did not flinch. And sometimes I would argue it wasn't a good joke, but because he had that attitude, he found such amazing dark jokes,
right?
That we look back on now and go, that was brave, that was cool, and that was right.
Right. Well, don't do those chunks. Save those for L.A. That'll be awesome. Save those chunks for Los Angeles. But that's the thing. L.A.
audiences, a lot of times they can be real soft.
Oh, really?
I think there's just I don't mean to cast dispersions on all of LA, but I think they're cheery. They want to be, everything's good. Everything's nice. I'm killing it. You're killing it. We're all killing it. I'm like, well, you can't all be killing it. I saw you all at the audition. None of us got the part. But it's because of that they don't always, and I think people in general don't always want to like say something screwed up or acknowledge something screwed up.
Right.
But if you love comedy, usually you're like, yeah, tell me the truth.
Do you love it?
I love comedy. I love doing it. I think it's just, I just have things I want to say. I think that's why I gravitated away from acting. I think I got to a place of like, oh, I don't want to say the same thing over and over. And I don't want to say other people's things for a living. I have this itch to say a screwed up thing.
Right.
And doing stand up, I literally get to do that for a living. And if I didn't do stand up, I think I'd be fired from a job for making a dark joke and I don't even mean an offensive joke, but just like people said, oh my God, he said that about the boss or gossiping or like saying something mean. Oh, I love gossiping. Stand up, I get to gossip on stage. Oh, it's brilliant.
Well, I will tell you the same thing I told you last. I'm so glad acting didn't work out for you.
Thank you very much.
I really am. I love you as a stand-up. I really do.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you took your Ambien, and I'm glad you were able to come in today.
Well, I'm about to take my Adderall, and we're going to have great shows tonight because of it.
All right, 2 shows tonight, completely sold out. The late shows tomorrow, the late 7 p.m. show, and then the later show, that's sold out. 4 o'clock was the only show that had tickets available for tomorrow, dcimprov.com. Gianmarco, thank you so much for coming in.
Hey, thanks for having me back.